In the middle of the Pacific, destiny waited on a strip of coral. Empires clashed, not with armies, but with wings and fire from the sky. One morning would decide the fate of the entire war in the Pacific. This is the story of the Battle of Midway, the turning point in the Pacific. Battle of Midway, the turning point in the Pacific. In June 1942, the vast blue emptiness of the Pacific Ocean became the stage 4, one of the most decisive air battles in history. 6 months after Pearl Harbor, Imperial Japan appeared unstoppable, its navy dominant and its confidence unshaken. Yet beneath that confidence lay a fatal flaw. At Midway Atoll, a tiny outpost of sand and coral, Japan would gamble its fleet and lose the war's momentum forever. Japanese Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto planned the operation to lure America's remaining aircraft carriers into a trap. By attacking Midway, he believed the U.S. Navy would rush to defend it, allowing Japan to destroy America's carrier force in one decisive blow. What Yamamoto did not know was that American codebreakers had cracked Japanese naval communications. The U.S. Navy knew the attack was coming, and where Admiral Chester W. Nimitz prepared his counterstroke with only 3 carriers, USS Enterprise, Hornet, and the hastily repaired Yorktown, the Americans sailed toward Midway. Against them stood for Japanese fleet carriers Akagi, Kagasoyu, and Haryu, veterans of Pearl Harbor, crewed by the most experienced aviators in the world. At dawn on June 4th, 1942, Japanese aircraft launched toward Midway, pounding its airfields with bombs. American defenders responded fiercely. Marine fighters rose into the sky, outnumbered but determined, while Midway-based bombers attacked the Japanese fleet in desperate ways. Most were shot down, but their sacrifice forced the Japanese carriers to maneuver constantly, disrupting flight operations as the Japanese debated whether to launch a second strike on Midway or prepare to attack. American ships. Fate intervened. American carrier aircraft, flying at extreme range, began arriving piecemeal over the enemy fleet. Torpedo squadrons from Hornet, Enterprise, and Yorktown attacked at low altitude, slow and exposed. They were slaughtered by Japanese fighters and anti-aircraft fire. Almost none survived, yet their sacrifice was not in vain. As Japanese fighters focused on the low-flying torpedo planes, American dive bombers approached unseen from high altitude. At 10:22 a.m., the sky suddenly filled with screaming engines as if dauntless dive bombers plunged toward the Japanese carriers. In just 5 minutes, 3 carriers, Akagi and Soryu, were struck by devastating bomb hits. Fires raged out of control, fueled by fully armed aircraft and exposed fuel lines. The shock was absolute. Japan's naval air power, the spearhead of its empire, was crippled in moments. Only Hiryu remained operational. Its air group launched a fierce counterattack, striking Yorktown with bombs and torpedoes, leaving the American carrier dead in the water. Many believed the battle was still undecided, but later that afternoon, American dive bombers found Hiryu and struck her down as well. By nightfall, all 4 Japanese carriers were burning wrecks. On June 5th and 6th, the Japanese fleet retreated, pursued by American aircraft. The USS Yorktown was later sunk by a Japanese submarine, but the damage had already been done. Japan had lost 4 carriers, over 300 aircraft, and many of its most experienced pilots' losses it could never replace. Midway was more than a tactical victory. It shattered the myth of Japanese invincibility and reversed the balance of power in the Pacific. For the first time, America seized the initiative. The long road across the Pacific would be brutal, but the tide had turned. Historians would later call Midway the most important naval battle of the war. It was a triumph of intelligence, courage, and sacrifice. In the vast silence of the Pacific, the war changed direction, not with a thunderous invasion, but with aircraft diving out of the sun. At Midway, the empire that struck Pearl Harbor met its reckoning, and from those burning carriers rose the beginning of Allied victory. Midway shattered an empire and changed the course of the Pacific War forever. From that moment on, the advance of tyranny began to slow, but on the Eastern Front, the skies were about to erupt in relentless combat. Join us in the next episode. Dogfights over Stalingrad, Soviet aces, defend the motherland. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.